So I'm here at Cruise America, ready to pick up my trailer. It's the very first time I've ever towed a camping trailer. I have towed a utility trailer way back in the day, about 30 or 40 years ago. So this is a documentation of my experience of exactly how it all works. I arrived at the Cruise America lot on State Street in Murray, Utah, just before my scheduled pickup time of 2:15 p.m. I'll bet you that one of these two is mine.
Right from the get-go, the rental experience had some unexpected challenges. Now, Cruise America had sent me some emails recommending that I watch their orientation videos in advance. I did as I had been asked, but it turned out that that wasn't good enough.
Hello there. I have an appointment at 2:15.
You see, the emails that they sent me contained links to videos with information pertaining to rental motorhomes, not about trailers. So, because I had not watched the trailer-specific videos before coming to pick up my camper, they made me watch them at the office before I could continue the process.
Let's get familiar with key components you'll need to know to get your trailer ready for the open road. It's in place until the trailer is secured to the tow vehicle and ready to move.
That same mix-up in emails also contributed to another problem. Because the emails were geared toward an RV rental, there was no mention about the requirement to show proof of insurance for a tow vehicle. Now, I recently had renewed my policy and I had not put the new insurance cards into my truck, so that took some more time while I handled that issue. Finally, I was ready for my orientation walkthrough. The walkthrough turned out to be somewhat cursory. As a newbie, there were lots of things that I didn't know and didn't even think to ask. Those things that I didn't know will be more apparent as the experience unfolds.
There's your propane tank. It's all full and everything. Should be all hooked up and ready to go.
Okay.
Keys for the doors. The doors can be a little bit difficult sometimes, so you do need to slam them to get them to shut.
Okay.
And you do not want to do the door or do the steps if the door is closed. It'll catch.
Okay, it's 3:06 p.m., so it took 55 minutes with all of the interesting challenges I had. Didn't say it anywhere, the stuff that I read, although I'm going to go back and reread it. Needed to have my insurance card with me for my tow vehicle. And then I had difficulty logging in with my phone. So if I'd known that in advance, I would have printed it out and brought it with me. So that definitely added time, plus watching of the trailer specific video, since the only ones that I had seen previously were for Class C.
To be fair, I did check later and found that the website does indeed list the requirements for proof of insurance. I only wished that it had been in the getting ready emails that they had sent too.
Anyway, let's hit the road. Feels a little bit like the first day of driver's training. Everything just feels different as you drive. I'm sure I'll get used to it as I spend some time on the road. At the moment, I definitely feel like a newbie.
One of the things that I was really curious about was just how heavy everything was. My truck is rated for a towing capacity of 6,600 pounds, and I wanted to find out where I stood. So I headed to a truck stop to weigh. I had never used one of these scales before. It's pretty cool that they have individual scales for each axle, so I was able to get the weight for the trailer broken out. It turned out to be 2,680 pounds, and that was with the water tank full. I don't have much footage of the drive up to the campground because I was concentrating on the vehicle and trailer in the traffic, but the drive turned out to be uneventful, exactly what I wanted. I had plotted my route carefully to avoid ending up in a situation that would have required me to back up, and for that same reason, I reserved a pull-through camping site on purpose. No backing up.
So one thing I wanted to do, before I actually pull into the campground, I've decided to walk to my site so I can understand exactly what it's going to take to get in and out of it. Again, I'm new to towing here, so I thought it would be easier if I get a look at it before I get myself into a situation that's difficult to get out of. I'm in site number 205 here in the Cottonwood Campground, so I'm going to go check it out. And here it is. Let me go get the truck and the trailer and let's get situated. So I've gotten pulled into the spot. Now it's time to set up all the connections here. This site has full hookups, water, electricity, and sewer. So let's see if I can figure out how to do that and remember what the girl showed me when I was back at the lot picking up this trailer. So just a comment about the drive. It's just now 5 o'clock. So it's about an hour and 45 minutes since I left the yard with the trailer. I've gone a total of 64 miles. You can see my gas mileage there. I think for the most part when I looked down at it, it was running about 18 miles per gallon on the freeway on the way up, and I typically was doing somewhere between 55 and 60 miles an hour. But my gas mileage usually runs closer to 30, so that's about a 1/3 drop off in the gas mileage towing this trailer. And this is the electricity. Got that done. Breakers turned on. This is the sewer hose here. I'll need to stretch it over to this.
It turned out that the sewer hose wasn't nearly long enough to stretch that far, so I decided just to use the onboard septic tanks and then dump later.
And now I'll hook up the water, and that hose is inside of here. That. And they say usually just a quarter turn, so I'll go with that. I believe the propane tank was already on, but I'll check it really quick. Yep, it's open. Okay, well, hookup's completed. Let's go inside and see how it works. I'm gonna check inside and then I'll unhook. No water yet. We'll have to see about that. I'll show you that's nice and cool. And this is also cool. Okay. Well, that's good. How about a light switch? Here it is. I'm not seeing any lights either. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to check, make sure the water's actually coming from this faucet. So I'm going to disconnect it here. Aha. Oh yeah. Okay, well definitely more than a quarter turn was necessary. Let me check that again here. Okay, that's all the way off. Now, half, 1, nothing. Half, 2, nothing. Half, I hear it coming out. So 2.5 gets me to that. 3 gets me to that. 3.5, 4. Okay, so I think I'm just going to try 3. See how the water pressure is inside the unit. Half 1, half 2, half 3. And I can hear it flowing. So let's go check again. Aha. Okay, so that's good news. Now I also want to, oh, I can't turn on the air conditioner until I figure out why the lights don't work thing. Oh. Okay, so I do have power. Not sure what that switch was doing. It means I still have to figure out why the lights didn't come on. There's obviously another light switch here. But the good news is I have power, so that means I can go ahead and unhitch. First things first, I have the block of wood that she gave me. And that's going to go down under here. I have a feeling I'm going to have to put the camera down or turn it off. The crank is in my truck. There it goes. Okay, we're good. They also provided in the unit a lock so you can secure the hitch so nobody takes off with your trailer if you decide to leave your campsite. That's something I hadn't thought about. Gonna check the leveling here. That's pretty close. This is a very level campsite. I didn't have to do anything to make this thing level. Let's check it side to side here. Well, that's right on. So I don't have to do anything with the stands to level it, which is a good thing because she didn't really demonstrate that to me anyway. So I want to do a quick tour of the inside of the trailer. Let's go and have a look. Start here in the front where there's a table and there are windows on each side. Not in the front, but just on the left and the right hand side. Above the table there's storage. Looks like about 18 inches deep and the full width of the trailer, which I suppose is 6 or 7 feet. Next to the table here is the freezer and refrigerator. The freezer is cooling off very nicely. Refrigerator, oh, it has a light in it. It's also very large. I'll insert a picture after I put my stuff in it so you can see just how spacious it is. Here on the wall is a thermostat. This thermostat controls the heater only, not the air conditioner. So it's a warm day, so I won't be using this, but if I needed the heater, this is where I would go. This is the bathroom. There's an outlet in here, an vent, and the toilet. Here's the shower. I'll have to let you know how it accommodates me because I'm 6 feet tall. Shower curtain. No basin in the bathroom, but I guess that would be asking too much. Little hooks that you can hang your robe on or whatever while you're showering. Back here we have a cooktop. And 2 burners. And they've included a lighter. That's very nice. I happen to bring matches and a lighter, but for people maybe who come out of town and didn't have one of those, that's really thinking ahead there. The sink. There's some damage here on the countertop. Not much countertop space, maybe 20 inches to the right of the sink. Or I guess you could also use the cooktop as like room to cut stuff. Below the sink are a couple of drawers here, and then cabinet underneath the sink. That's nice. More up here above the sink. This door's a little flimsy. Not sure what's going on there. One more here. Lots of storage space. Down here are more electrical outlets. A little dark right now, but electrical outlet there. And this appears to be USB plug-ins. We'll have to check and see how that works out. I wasn't even hoping that that would be in here, so that's very nice too. And oh, I almost missed the microwave right here. They tell me that the microwave and the air conditioner only work when you're connected to power, so they don't run off the battery at all. Back in the back here is the bed, and the bed is situated perpendicular to the direction the trailer would be traveling, so basically sideways. So it looks like the bed measures 53 inches across, 4'5" by 78 or 79 inches, so 6'6", 6'7". A window on each side of the bed. Again, not at the back, just on each side. And storage up above the bed as well.
One thought that did not occur to me while I was filming the tour, while this bed is designed to fit 2 people, there is no way for the second person to get into or out of the bed without climbing over the first person. So the second person is effectively trapped. Just something to consider. In addition to the basics that I showed during the walkthrough, Cruise America offers a couple of add-on packages. One of the packages provides kitchen essentials like pots and pans and silverware, and another one has linens like towels and bedding and pillows. They're not cheap. The price of those 2 packages together would have exceeded the rental cost for my trailer, so I just brought my own things from home. I also should note that the linen package looks to have only enough items for 1 person, so that might require multiple purchases if you decided to go that route.
So there's my tour of the inside of the unit. Now it's time to unpack the truck. So the air conditioner unit came on, but I didn't have it turned to the cooling side. I just have it on the fan side. So you'll need to turn it over here into the blue area if you want the air conditioner to actually cool the unit down. It's great to be a newbie. Finally figured out what was going on with these lamps. There's not a light switch for them. You simply press the button that's right on the light itself, and then it turns on. Things are finally coming together here. Good morning. It's day 2. I've completed the first night of sleeping and I have a little bit of an update here. The first one is that this door doesn't remain closed all night. Now, when I checked out the trailer yesterday, we were standing on the outside and the girl showed me you just have to push it closed really hard. And it did stay closed the whole time I was driving up here. In fact, it was locked. But the challenge is that when you're inside of the trailer, it's not really possible to slam it the way that we slammed it from the outside. So I struggled with it. You have to reach through the little pocket in the screen here, and there's only so much force that you can give it. And so it would close like that, but invariably within a few minutes, just like that, it would pop open again. So I slept with the door open all night. First it gave me a little bit of concern, then I remembered, oh, there's people sleeping in tents all around here too. So, you know, it is what it is. You're not as secure as you are when you're in your house. But this is definitely a problem with this trailer. And it really needs to be addressed, and so I'll bring it up with them when I take it back and return it, because I cannot keep the door closed. The second problem is that the bugs were really bad here last night. As soon as the sun set, they were just crazy. On a side note, I did discover what this switch did that I couldn't make any sense of yesterday. It actually controls the light outside. So I had turned that on, but that turned out to be a mistake. The bugs were just relentless. As far as the sleeping went, this air conditioner was fantastic. It kept the place very cool. It's a little noisy. I have it turned off right now while I record. It's a little noisy, but the flip side of that noisiness is that it kind of masks the noise from the freeway, because this campground is right next to Interstate 15. And I like sleeping, I sleep with a fan on all the time anyway. So I don't mind the noise from the air conditioner. I treat it as kind of white noise. The bed was reasonably comfortable. At home I sleep with a mattress topper. And so obviously I'm missing that here. But I slept really well. So that's kind of a recap of how the first night went here. One thing you want to consider when you're shopping for your trip is to make sure and pick up some RV toilet paper. Regular toilet paper that you would use at your house can't be used in the septic system here, so it's important that you buy some of this. And it's not cheap. This 4-pack, I want to say it was $6.95. I got it at Ace Hardware. This is some taco meat that I made at home before I came on the trip. All I have to do is heat it up, and I can have tacos for dinner. There actually was a roll of toilet paper in here. It just happened to have been down in there. So you can keep the advice that I gave earlier, or just rely on the roll that's in here. Anyway, as far as the shower goes, I have not been able to figure out how to make it really turn on. I got a little bit of water out of it earlier, but just a trickle like that. So I decided to go over and take a shower in the showers that are part of the campground, and I'll try to see if I can figure out what's wrong with this tomorrow. I'm guessing that it's user error, but I checked the pump and I had the water heater on, so I'm not sure what the problem could be. I've spent 2 nights here now. The door still doesn't stay closed. And additional to the security issues, I've realized that the fact that the door doesn't stay closed impacts the air conditioning as well. So back toward the bed, it stays nice and cool because the air conditioner blows that way. But up in the front of the trailer where the door constantly opens, it's much warmer and the air conditioner is working really hard to keep the unit cool, but it just isn't happening. after I've spent some time in this camper, I want to call out that you'll probably need an extension cord because there are only 2 outlets in here. There's one here and there's one in the bathroom, but I wanted to use my laptop over on the table, so I had an extension cord with me, which allowed me to do that. So something else you might want to consider having on your packing list. It's the morning of the 3rd day, and I do want to point out that this door stayed closed for the entire night. It's the first time that this happened, but I wanted to make sure and note it because I did call it out on after the first night that it wasn't staying closed, so I'm not sure. Nope. So it still can be pushed open very easily. So I'm not sure exactly what changed. Okay, it's the last morning. I've completed my 3-night stay. I woke up pretty early. I have to have the unit returned by 11 a.m. and I want to allow 2 hours of driving time to get back down there. So I wanted to get an early start so that I could pack everything up and make sure everything looks good and not feel pressured in any way for the time, especially when I have to drive the trailer. So at this point, I've mostly got everything packed. I still need to sweep and clean the counters and things like that. Sweeping reminds me that you should remember to bring a broom. I have a broom and a whisk broom with me, but there's no broom included. Now perhaps if I had bought the package that includes the pots and pans and things like that, they would have included a broom in that. But since I didn't buy either the bedding or the pots and pans packages, I had to bring all that stuff from home. So I need to do just a little bit of cleaning on the counters and sweep. Then I have to get down to the business of getting the trailer ready to be turned in, and that's going to involve the dreaded dumping of the tanks. I will tell you that the knobs on this one are different than anything that I've seen in the videos, because I had seen previously that there's a gray knob and a black knob to help you distinguish between the black water and the gray water. This one just has 2 knobs that are both the same color. So the way that you can tell the difference is that the black water, the pipe that leads to it, is much larger than the one for the gray water. Then I don't want to get too specific. I think you can imagine that the black water needs to have more volume for things to pass through. So anyway, I think I'll be okay on that. Then I have to get the trailer hitched up, and then I should be good to go. It's been a good experience. I gave up on camping like more than a decade ago because I just didn't like sleeping on the ground or having to walk way over to a bathroom in the middle of the night. I had to give up on camping about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more, because I didn't like sleeping on the ground anymore, and also I didn't like going days and days without a shower. But you know, with this unit, those things are mostly solved. Now, of course, in this unit, I still never figured out how to turn on the shower, and I don't know whether that's just user incompetence or whether there's in fact something wrong with the shower, but I'm certainly going to have them show me when I get back, because I do intend to do this again, and I want to make sure that, you know, I know how to work the shower the next time around. And also the next time I do this, I'll make sure that I check in advance to make sure that I know how to do that kind of stuff before I leave the lot. Okay, the trailer is all emptied out, cleaned up, swept, wiped down everything. Very good. I didn't notice this earlier. Provided an adapter cord So I made an important discovery here that I hadn't really considered before. When I parked close enough to the water and electric that everything could work out. But I'm not close enough to the sewer because the hose that they provide is pretty short. So I did not bring an extra hose, but it could be something you'd want to consider, is buying a longer hose or something like that. The bigger problem is that with this hose, even if I had parked in the correct spot, with this hose I wouldn't be able to dump both of these because they're 5 feet apart, 6 feet apart, and 5 feet apart. So in any case, I'm gonna have to dump the black tank, and then I'm gonna have to move the trailer in order to dump the gray tank. So I need to hitch up before I can do the dumping. Cruise America provided a lock inside of the trailer that you can attach to the trailer hitch to lock it in such a way that no one can take off with your trailer. So I thought that was a nice touch that they included that, because I forgot to bring a lock. Okay, I got it all done. That was a bit more of a struggle than I thought it was going to be. I couldn't even remember whether to lock it was up or down, and I had it on there, and then I wasn't certain that it was right, so I undid it again. I also ended up basically putting my truck in neutral, pushing it back like 2 inches so I could get aligned in the right spot. Having a backup camera certainly helps since I don't have a spotter with me. But anyway, all this is done. I've backed up the unit a few feet so that I can stretch the hose, and I'm hoping that I got it to the point that I don't have to move it again to do the gray water. I think at this location I should be able to do both of them. So to sum it up, is this something that I intend to do again? Absolutely yes. I have reservations up at Bryce Canyon for later in this summer. I guess the new challenge on that will be, I don't think I'm going to have hookups at Bryce Canyon, and also I'm going to have to tow in mountains. And this towing experience was just, flat freeway. But overall, that's a good experience for me. The trailer worked basically as was promised. The air conditioner over-delivered, so I'm super happy with that. And I've only pointed out the two flaws, the door, and maybe the shower is not even a flaw. It could just be, as I say, user error. I'm back at the return place, and I just want to close the loop on one thing. It did turn out that the shower problem was user error. So there's a switch right here that you have to maneuver. So anyway, I know that I spent some time saying the shower doesn't work, so I want to make sure that I close the loop there and show exactly what the issue was so that you can take a shower yourself inside the unit if you rent one of these.
So let me recap. First, I made some rookie mistakes. I chose not to cut them out of the video because I imagined that if I made the mistake, someone else can see it and avoid the same problem. Not knowing how to work the shower was probably the biggest one. But showing up at the rental center without my proof of insurance would have been very easy to avoid. Knowing about the existence of the trailer-specific video can save you some wasted time at the rental center. Maybe I'm the only one who didn't know that there are no light switches inside the trailer, or maybe the frustration of my experience will save you a little headache. My final bill came to only $221 for 3 nights, and that includes the junk fees that you see on the screen. I think it was a good value and a great experience. I would rate the condition of the trailer is good. Aside from the issues that I had with the door, everything else worked well. The AC, the fridge, and even the shower. There were some cosmetic issues from wear and tear, but I suppose that that's to be expected from a camper that has been used by dozens, if not hundreds, of other people before me. I was impressed by Cruise America's little touches, like the flame igniter in the stove and the padlock for the hitch. They were well appreciated, and the USB ports were a pleasant surprise. I felt like the orientation at checkout was too cursory. I think that it's likely that a lot of customers renting a trailer would be inexperienced. More experienced people probably have their own camper. So I'd like to see a little bit more depth in the orientation. For example, my campsite was flat, so I did not have to level the camper. But if I had, I wouldn't have had any idea how to do it. In fact, I still don't. Also, a little bit more explanation into the basic functions of the camper. Where are the light switches? How does the shower work? Those could have been part of a more complete orientation, or maybe Cruise America could just update their 20-year-old videos. On balance, I had a very good experience. So good, in fact, that I reserved another camper for later in the summer. However, for the next rental, I intend to try a motorhome, and I'm hoping that this will give me a good basis to compare the two experiences.
I want to thank you for watching this video. This is Postcard Dan, and if you enjoyed this video, I hope that you would give it a thumbs up so that YouTube will share it with other people as well. And if you enjoy the content on my channel, I'd be honored to have you as a subscriber. This is Postcard Dan in Willard Bay State Park.